Welcome back to the Extra Rep podcast, guys. I'm Josh.
I'm Liam.
Today, we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic, alcohol. So we're going to be diving into, obviously, alcohol in society, the balance between obviously enjoying life and being committed to your health and fitness goals. We're going to go through, obviously, the effects of alcohol on the body so you guys have a really good idea of what it actually does. And then we're going to give you some strategies to obviously minimize the impact that it has. As you all know, it's probably not great for you to be having it in amounts, but we will talk about that. We'll also talk about some smarter choices you can do when you actually drink or when you finally choose to drink. And then we want to talk about, not just cutting alcohol out of your life forever. Of course, if you want to do that, that's up to you. But I think if you're someone who still wants to enjoy a social drink every now and again, then this episode will be for you because we're going to talk obviously about moderating that. But I guess, Liam, it's more thinking about where's the balance, with alcohol? Because I feel like, especially we're in Australia, there's not much balance at the moment with a lot of people.
Mainly because there is a societal pressure to drink. Definitely, there's so many places we can go with this, but I don't know about you, but I've always felt a societal pressure to drink. Yeah. And I think when you start taking a health and fitness lifestyle and change very seriously, alcohol is the number one barrier because you worry about what other people will say if you're going to go to an event. And sometimes that can mean you just don't go to the event altogether.
So I reckon that's a really good place to start. What are some strategies you could give, or strategies that you give clients when that sort of thing pops up, when they're probably going to be ridiculed for drinking alcohol or how are they going to navigate it with the calories?
I give them a few hacks. I give them the medical route. I just say hey, just tell them you got a blood test and you've got chronic liver function issues or you've got fatty liver disease, so you have to just stop for this period of time. The second you say that to someone, they're like, oh shit, it's medical. Yeah, They won't give him shit. But if the guy just simply said, the real reason, I just want to better myself, lose a bit of weight, and not wake up and feel like shit tomorrow morning, then he'll be ridiculed with all the comments.
Yeah. Come on, just have one. Yeah. You'll be right.
Don't be boring. XYZ, the old you would have done it.
And I think that,
he thinks he's too good for us now.
I think that brings up a good point of especially when people say that, you've got to understand that people aren't making the choices that you're making, so they're just trying to put that back on you because they can't not drink. They'd probably like to be able to do that deep down and not wake up and feel like shit, but they can't because they succumb to that societal pressure. And again, it's completely up to you when you want to choose to have a drink and that, or when you have an actual problem. But that's one thing where, I've tried to, especially with clients, get them to understand that, telling people just hey, I'm not doing it because of X, Y, Z, I'm trying to get better, instead of ridiculing me, can you help me? If you got people who then continue to ridicule you, then you can obviously just be like, okay, I'm just going to see you a bit less often for that period where I'm drinking. That's all it is.
I still remember an event, this was back in 2018, 6 years ago. And yes, I was still in my early 20s, but there was one night where I was going to see one of my favorite DJs. And for me, I'm like, the music's enough. I don't really need to get blind. I'd wanted to jump and dance around. But at the pre-gathering, I remember telling this one dude, I'll tell you who he is after, that I wasn't drinking that night. And it's like I saw the light die in his eye. It's like he froze. Because he was playing beer pong and he was half blind already. And he's like, Liam, come in. I'm like, oh, no, sorry, man, I'm not drinking. And he was just like, and I was just like, oh, that's the reaction I got. I literally saw a light die in his eye.
Yeah. It's a bit of like I said, it is a bit of a societal issue. But going back to, I guess, we'll sort of talk about why, now it's why would we tell clients when they're dieting or, looking to optimize their health to actually give up alcohol or really limit it for a period of time? And then we'll sort of go into what, how many standard drinks and all that sort of stuff as well. I think the first and the major thing that comes with, alcohol is, obviously fat storage, because when people drink, they normally eat. And when people are doing both of those things, if you are trying to metabolize alcohol whilst you're trying to metabolize food...
Alcohol comes first in the liver. Exactly. It makes a chemical called acetaldehyde, and the liver goes, hey, we don't know what to do with this. So it doesn't care about all the nutrients you just ate. It goes, we need to prioritize detoxifying this as fast as possible. But it's not just the food, right? People don't realize that alcohol contains 7 calories per gram. And look what happened to you with the chocolate wine.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, crazy. So me and the girlfriend went to Queenstown, went to one of those, super fancy wineries where you pay a lot of money for the lunches. Like, don't get me wrong, lovely, crazy meals, all that, but you get a wine pairing with it. Long story short, dessert wines, for those who have dessert wines, you'd know they contain a few calories, but the bottle, I'm pretty sure, was 600 grams of sugar, and we got a 150 ml serve. So I got 120 grams of sugar, which equates to 480 calories.
Yep.
If we're going to equate carbs, sugar, 480 calories for me to sip a glass of wine and be like, fuck, like
big
that
insulin
is
spike.
Yeah, crazy as well. So it's just one of those things where, again, it just goes back to moderating. Obviously, alcohol by itself is bad enough, but then once you start mixing it with cocktails and all that other stuff, that's when the calories start to get out of control.
Yeah.
Again, you're going to wake up in the morning. What are you going to do? You're probably going to be hungover, lethargic. You're going to not move as much. You're going to crave salty, sweet food, which again contains more calories. And the cycle continues, which is why you see a lot of people, the Monday to Friday, write themselves off on the weekend, go back to Monday to Friday, eat healthy, and they never see any result. Or they just slowly, because of that alcohol metabolizing, and they're just storing body fat whenever they're eating and drinking.
There's a third key factor we haven't mentioned here. It's not just the alcohol, it's not just the food. It's the impact alcohol has on your sleep. It completely puts it in the shitter.
Yeah.
Even if you think just one beer with dinner is okay, trust me, it'll impact your sleep.
Yeah. And it's just about making that choice at the end of the day. It's like, we know we probably talked already about like something you'd probably be thinking, fuck, I'm never having another alcoholic drink again. But it's just about finding that, I guess that mindfulness place of like, okay, how many standards am I happy to get away with? Am I able to allocate calories to alcohol? Which is why in terms of, drinking, if I go out drinking, obviously it's rare now, but, vodka lime sodas, aiming for generally lower calorie drinks, zero sugar mixes, all those sort of things, or just straight spirits even, because they're just going to be a much better option than, a lot of, like I said, pre-mixed stuff, which just adds a lot of calories. And I think, digestion wise, things like beers and that just really don't sit well for me. And I'm sure they don't with a lot of people.
Like I use certain beers with my clients who won't give up drinking and they, they're just like, I have to have, this 6-pack at this event or whatever. The two easiest and best ones are Han Ultra Crisp. They're like gluten-free. They don't have the hops in it. So like you don't get bloated and feel like shit. They're only 80 calories per bottle. Cool. The other one is Burley Big Head as well. Very similar mix. And both of them, just they're lower in calories and you just no sugar in them either.
Yeah.
So it just really helps out. But I can give you like a little bit of a hack, guys, that I used myself, and I'm talking as a single man, whereas Josh is in a relationship. So like obviously you have different events you get invited to, and then also different scenarios. Like the modern dating scene is like, let's go out for a drink. Yep. Like that's just like the standard one, there's no barrier to entry. Yep. If you're nervous, you can have a drink, all that stuff. I always hated that. But what you can do is, as a man, you go to the bar and you always offer to buy a girl a drink. Now, you order a lime and soda water, which has no alcohol or nothing. And obviously, you get her a drink as well, whatever she wants. And you're just drinking lime and soda water. And if you ever get asked by anyone, what are you drinking? You just say vodka lime soda.
Lime soda. Yeah.
It looks the exact same, no alcohol. You don't get the judgment from the other person that, this guy's not drinking.
Yeah.
And win-win.
Everybody's happy.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And, for all the people that are listening at social events, I've pulled this so many times, so I'm sorry if you thought I was drinking, but I was actually just drinking, soda water and lime.
Yeah. It is funny. And I think going to, like, in terms of before a night out, what would you do? Like, what do you, like for me, it's, obviously be as hydrated as possible.
Yeah.
And there are some supplements we will sort of just have a quick touch on, which are going to help in terms of actually metabolizing the alcohol probably a bit quicker.
Yeah. We've got one
reducing the hangover.
Yeah, one that is a supplement and one that's just really easy to get. It's just food. Yeah. That's raw organic honey. So honey, just the polyphenols in it just really help break down and detoxify the liver. So before you go to bed, just have like a tablespoon of honey, and you can have electrolytes as well. That's probably the other supplement we're going to talk about. Yeah. Oh, actually, the one you mentioned to me the other day, DHM.
DHM, yeah.
DHM. I can't remember the scientific term. It's like dihymethyl something.
Yeah.
But that specifically breaks down the chemical acetaldehyde that alcohol produces.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just after, their work Christmas party or whatever, or New Year's or whatever they've just had, pop 3 tablets of them before you go to bed and reduces the hangover.
Yeah, all those hangover cure drinks seem to be big lately. But yeah, the DHM, like I got it off Amazon, for example, it was called Alcohol Defense. It's got a couple of other things in there as well, but I've taken that a few times, and obviously I can tell that has definitely helped the situation. And before, you go, oh, sweet, I can just go and knock out 20 beers and then take that before I go to bed. No, you're still going to feel like shit. You will feel better than you probably did if you didn't. But yeah, it's not going to outweigh, the amount of excessive binge drinking you've done. So, when clients go out and they go, oh, how many drinks can I have? Obviously, I've got a couple of rules. The first one is obviously to try and keep it away from food. So it's like you want to eat first at least, or just try and make sure you've eaten before, or you're not going to eat. Allocate some calories, obviously, like we know alcohol is
high protein.
Yeah, 7 calories per gram. Save your carbs and fats for alcohol, basically. Will be the swap, keep your protein high. And then decide on a limit of drinks you're going to stick to. And then again, you can have, like I said, even if you want to do a vodka soda lime, then a soda lime, vodka soda lime, soda lime. It's up to you with what you want to do. You're not children. We're not going to tell you guys what to do and how much to drink. But
some people want a list. Look, if you want a list, spirits, whiskey. God, what else? I don't drink anymore, as you guys can't tell.
Well, it's basically any
spirits,
spirit
whiskey,
with
hard
low calorie
liqueur,
mixes.
like tequila. They're pretty much best bang for your buck.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like when you start getting into some beers and some wines and that's when it's, and cocktails and that, it's when the calories can add up quickly. So, my final thought on that would be try and stick to one variety. So if you want beers, stick on, low calorie beers. If you want vodka, stick on low calorie vodka.
Yeah.
Starting to mix the drinks as well. Again, there's not like a crazy amount of research behind it, but I can guarantee you if you've had 16 different alcohols compared to just one, you're going to feel a lot fucking worse in the morning.
Yeah.
Even if you've had the same amount of technical alcohol across the night. So try and stick to one or two. Different.
The margin for error is like one could have different preservatives and all this other stuff in it. The other one could have more sugar or something. Like you just don't know.
Yeah. And I think it's going back to, like I said, being smart, guys. Like I said, having your protein beforehand, making sure you're fully hydrated. We know alcohol is going to dehydrate you. Having some electrolytes before bed. Especially in the morning, I find if I can get up, because motivation's probably going to be lower after drinking. If you can get up, get a coffee, get a walk in, and then do what you need to do for that day, because then you'll find the couch will probably take over at 2-3 p.m., which I know a lot of people, sometimes that happens.
As long as it's a weekend.
Well, exactly right.
Sure
Depends
on weekends.
Yeah, it depends on the day you're doing it. But when it comes back to if you're trying to optimize your body as much as humanly possible, and you're trying to lose as much fat as much as humanly possible, just cut it out for 8 weeks, or have one standard, just one drink every now and every couple of weeks.
But it's also a testament to if you can cut it out for a certain period of time, it's because look, alcohol addiction is a huge thing. And the biggest thing I see in clients that are alcoholics is denial. No, I'm not addicted. I only have, 1 or 2 beers here and there.
Yeah.
Or how many times have you heard the term, I only had 6 beers, that's nothing. And you're like, bro, what?
Yeah.
That's 1,200 calories a 6-pack. What do you mean that's nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I woke up fine.
Yeah.
It's there are people that are and this is legit, some people are high-functioning alcoholics.
Yeah,
they really are.
You wouldn't know.
The brain receptor has just honestly attached itself to this addiction.
Yeah.
And it becomes a chemical addiction. And
they thrive off it.
They do. So it's very concerning. I tell people to really be mindful of it. And also going to events, it's do you want to drink or do you feel that you need to drink? Do you feel the social pressure that you need to drink, or do you actually want to have a drink? Identifying that is big. That was a key thing for me. Yeah. I realized pretty early on I didn't actually want to drink, just because everyone else was, that I thought I had to.
Yeah. It's quite interesting. And I think going back to one thing we probably did miss there in terms of, one of the effects of alcohol is protein synthesis. So if you're going to have probably 3-4 drinks, you know, it's been shown to reduce it by like at least 25%. If you're going to binge drink past that,
Well,
you know, it's probably going
This
to
goes back into
fly
the,
down,
to
you
the
know?
liver detoxifying, because like
Yeah.
all our nutrients pass through the liver. That includes protein that distributes it throughout the body. So when that gets blocked by, you know, acetaldehyde, and then the body goes, okay, I need to get rid of acetaldehyde first. It doesn't care about your protein or your muscle.
Yeah.
It just goes, there's this poison in me, get it out.
Yeah, get it out by whatever means necessary. And then again, like, it's not just going to last like a couple of hours as well. Like these effects, you know, go day on day on day potentially in terms of especially, you know, building muscle and
48
new muscle
hours
tissue.
it takes to fully get it out of your system.
And then think that's one drink. Yeah. As you come through, and it's like if you start binge drinking, you're doing that. So like if you're someone who's just like your body composition's not changing, but you're probably having on average, you know, 4 to 8 drinks a week, even if most of them are on the weekend, that's probably going to be a big reason why.
And not only just because of the caloric intake from alcohol, but the things we mentioned, like the sleep loss, like, the metabolism.
We go back to sleep studies, you know, people sleeping 8 versus 5 hours, the quality of sleep. You know, we know that the better quality of sleep, the more muscle you're going to grow, the more body fat you're going to lose. And it's going to go the other way. If you're getting shit sleep, you know, uninterrupted, you're not getting deep sleep when you're drinking too much alcohol. And then adding caffeine onto that with cocktails and things like that, like an espresso martini.
Yeah, like as good as they are, like having an espresso martini at night, you've already sacrificed your sleep.
Yeah.
Not
Have
because
it
of
in
the
the
alcohol,
afternoon.
but the caffeine. Like have it at your bottomless brunch or whatever. That's probably the safest time to have it.
Yeah, if you're going to have it, exactly
if you're
right.
gonna have it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have one at 10 p.m. at night unless you plan to stay up till 4, 6 in the
Exactly.
morning, which some of you sesh gremlins probably do.
We've all seen it.
Yeah, we've all seen it. So I think in terms of just moderating things at the end of the day, like we're not here to tell you, you know, to never drink alcohol, but at the same time, if you're looking to optimize your health and fitness, there's going to have to be a trade-off here, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be able to get away with, you know, like 6 to 10 drinks over a week. And a lot of your standard drinks are normally probably 1.5 or 2, especially if you're making them yourselves, you're making them stronger. So it is something that, you know, firstly identifying, like you said, do you want to drink or do you feel like you have to drink?
We can go like a lot of people, it's habit that's passed down on them. I think it's that Canadian Club ad where it's like, oh, I only drank beer because my dad drank it.
Yeah.
Oh, I only drank beer because my dad drank it. It's like that obligation.
Yeah.
And
I've never really liked beer.
Yeah.
But when I was 18, that's all I drank because they were the cheapest thing. And I was like, oh, this tastes like crap, but oh, well, it's getting me drunk.
there you go. So identifying that, but I really want to hammer it home to people like alcohol, the only benefit of it is a social benefit. There's no health and body composition benefits at all from alcohol. And some people will say like, there's resveratrol in red wine or whatever, but it's all the sulfites and all the other chemicals and shit in that red wine are completely counteracting the resveratrol that's in the grapes. Essentially from the wine. So like there's no benefits health-wise. I'm not saying there's no benefits in general, but there's no benefits health-wise to drinking alcohol.
And I think, like I said, you know, you go back to health, obviously social health is a thing. So
Exactly. Like
know,
if you're celebrating like something or you know, like
a milestone or...
like I drank at a friend's wedding. And, you know, like
for sure.
You're celebrating love and happiness. You know?
Yeah, I think there's times where, like, even for myself, you know, if my best mate's getting married, you best believe I'm getting smashed. But everyone's different. It's just about finding, you know, if you're someone who you got events every single weekend, you've got to start thinking, oh, okay, you know, there's events every single weekend. What's going on? Like, who am I hanging out with? Like, there's definitely times where I can go, okay, I don't really need to drink at this event, or I can just have a beer or two.
Not just that though.
And I can drive home.
There are people that they hate their job. And the first thing they can't wait to do is crack open a cold one and turn on Netflix when they get home. So really have a think about that if you've got this just craving to drink when you get home. And look, this is an alcohol podcast, but this goes for anything. This goes for the chocolate in the fridge. This goes for whatever. If you're like trying to escape, like these things, alcohol, you know, technology, sugar, whatever it may be, it's always an escape mechanism because they work on our brain receptors. And the more you put in, the harder it is to get away from it.
Yeah.
because we develop the codependency and addiction.
Yeah, it's like if you had a little habit of like, getting a sweet treat from the shops on the way every Friday or something.
Yeah.
That just becomes ingrained in a pattern.
Exactly.
Then it might go into Thursday. Then,
Yeah.
before you know it, you're doing it every night subconsciously. You're not even realizing you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're just, I normally go to the shops now and grab a little chocolate bar or something like that.
Exactly.
And again, like I said, goes back to alcohol, goes back to everything in life. But I think that's a great place to leave it, guys. You guys have got heaps of information now based on alcohol to make your own independent choices about when you want to drink, what you want to do. Obviously, our recommendation is to optimize it as much as possible. Either just cut it out or drink very, very sparingly, and making sure you're trying not to do it around food or around training, obviously, as well.
Well, my last one is I'm probably more on the side of like, just get rid of it. And if you can't get rid of it, just get rid of the thought that you care what other people think if you're going to say no. Like, just get over that hurdle, I would say.
Yeah, that's a great place to leave it. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, make sure you are following us. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you give us some 5 stars on the podcast through all your favorite streaming platforms as well. But until then, we'll see you in the next pod.
Thanks, guys.